for about 10 days now, with people expecting one. So let's have some under consideration. I think there are two key components here. One is a defensive component, and the other one is an offensive component. So defensively, I think it's basically Israel's ability to be able to withstand a counter response from Iran, not just one, but maybe two or three. And what that involves Iron Dome. So let's take a look at what Iron Dome is. What you're looking at here is a map, basically. Iron Dome is a common term that's effectively used for Israel's ability to defend itself with air defense batteries. But actually, when you go into Iron Dome, it's a three-tiered layered air defense system. And it starts with what is called Iron Dome, right in the middle, and that's annotated by the red circle that you can see around Tel Aviv. That's basically the Tamir. It goes from about 3 to about 40 kilometers, and that basically rockets and missiles, anything that will get through, if you like. The second bit on that is the blue. That goes out to 300 kilometers. That's David's sling. It's called David's sling. It goes out to 300 kilometers and targets short-range ballistic missiles. And then the big wide one you can see there, the yellow one, that's the Arrow system, and that's Arrow 2 and 3. Basically, that targets high-speed, high-altitude ballistic missiles, and it can even go, Arrow 3 can even go into space.
And how does that kind of defense structure require?
Yeah, that's actually the nail on the head. That's the key bit here. So if you look at the Iron Dome system alone, so that inner red circle, there are about 10 batteries of Iron Dome Tamir missiles that protect Israel. Now, they need around 600 to 800 missiles to be able to withstand a barrage from Iran. So if you imagine that 600 to 800 missiles from one attack, and then you've got all of the missiles that go into David Sling and all of the missiles that go into Arrow 2 and 3, imagine the stockpiles that are going to be required to withstand that barrage from Iran. So I think that basically is one of the trigger mechanisms. And we also know through open source intelligence that the US are now putting extra missile batteries. So that could be THAAD, which is Terminal High Altitude Air Defense Systems, or Patriot. They're putting additional ones in to be able to absorb anything that Israel's Iron Dome, David Sling, and Arrow might not be able to.
Okay.
News updates around the world on this Tuesday. News update around the world on this Tuesday, 3rd of February 2026. Former President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary Clinton, the former Secretary of State, have agreed to testify in the congressional investigation into the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Bill Clinton's deputy chief of staff confirmed the news on social media, writing, "The former president and former Secretary of State will be there. It comes as the Republican-led House of Representatives was preparing to vote on holding both Clintons in criminal contempt of defying Rego Simmons." Bill Clinton's photo appears in Epstein files released by Department of Justice, although the former Democratic president has denied any wrongdoing. This report is reported by MEAWW. News update around the world. News update in this morning. Says report of allegedly misconduct after Mandelson email published. U.S. Abraham Lincoln. 5,000 personnel, as many as 90 aircraft on board, last 20 years without refueling, reportedly in striking distance of Iran. Security brief of U.S. military capability in the Gulf. It has 5,000 personnel, as many as 90 aircraft. News update. Bill and Hillary Clinton to testify to congressional Epstein probes. U.S. and India reach trade deal, Trump says after Narendra Modi call. News update. Security brief of the U.S. military capability in the Gulf.
different ways. In Venezuela, it was put very near the coast of Venezuela, and it was using its sensor platforms to be able to update where the S-300 anti-aircraft missile systems were mobile and moving to, and then it was relaying the coordinates back to the warships with the Tomahawk land attack missiles on to update the GPS coordinates so they could make accurate strikes. Now, that's basically what the carrier has. If you go on to the question of how do you defend against that, well, the carrier comes with a carrier strike group. And with that carrier strike group, you've got cruisers. And those cruisers have what's called SM-2, SM-6, and SM-3 missiles. Now, those basically are missiles that are designed to take out various forms of threat. Some are designed to take out ballistic missiles, some are designed to take out cruise missiles, some are designed to take out aircraft, and are designed to take out drones. Now, if anything gets through all of that, then what's called a close-in weapon system, which is effectively a Gatling gun, which has 6 barrels on it, that can fire 4,500 rounds a minute, and those rounds are the size of Coke cans, and that goes out to about 1 to 2 kilometers. So you've got all of that kit, and there are probably about 1 or 2 of those systems. They're called phalanx, based on warship. So you've got basically anything that gets through, you've got that close-in weapon system, that phalanx, and then of course you've got submarines that will defend the carrier strike group against other submarines as well. So it's massively protected. Current open source intelligence has the carrier strike group kind of like hiding around the southern end of Oman to prevent the Iranians giving direct line of sight of it. But there has been on open source intelligence as well indications that the Iranians have been launching long-range surveillance drones in order to try and get eyes on that target in order to develop some form of GPS coordinate.
But it's
News updates around the world. News update. We saw on image Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton arriving to testify the files released on Epstein files released. Epstein files, police and government information to Epstein. News update. We listened to the Speaker of Iran telling that in the previous confrontation between Iran and Israel, Iran avoided to make the war a regional war. So, but at this time, if United States decided to strike or attack Iran, it will be a regional war. And as military bases of United States are located in the countries surrounding Iran, so it will be a regional war as Iran will be forced to strike back on all US military bases located in the countries surrounding Iran. And he said that at this point, Iran and the United States could discuss on limitation on nuclear weapons, and he hopes that United States will not strike Iran. News update. Artemis 2 mission. NASA ends Artemis 2 wet dress rehearsal early due to hydrogen leak. News update. News update. Epstein files. Police review claims after file suggests Mandelson sent government information to Epstein. News update. News update. We were seeing Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton arriving to test. News update. News update and headlines. News updates and headlines. Trump links India tariff deal to Russia oil. Trump links India tariff deal to Russia oil.
One of the two largest economies in that community, I think it's good news for the global economy businesses. And so in that sense, for other force or the other, to have relations with both.
News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. Reminding you that in sport, Alcaraz became the youngest to win Grand Slam at 22 years old. On Sunday, he won against Novak Djokovic. News update. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. U.S. manufacturing activity jumped by most since 2022.
With EU, so it's exciting times for Indian business.
News update headlines. Top news: China Silver Fund revaluation sparks 31% drop pushback. News update. China signals more access for UK films after Xi met Starmer.
Government representatives, they talk about the importance of the rule of law. Yeah. They talk about also the importance of English law as an export of services as well. So I think the UK government still sees that value in what the legal services industry brings to the economy. And
news updates and headlines. News update on the situation in Iran and US.
Brave announcement, basically saying he is willing to support a referendum, basically saying that Khamenei has to be stopped, basically saying something even more important. He asked the Iranian military to put down their guns and not kill the people. But then he said, we want to go back to an Islamic state. And that has caused the ire of thousands. Go on social media and see how they have attacked this. Who's been in prison for 14 years now, for even road of an Islamic state. That's how angry people are at this regime. And anything that even smells of Khamenei and his regime. But that idea, I think, the idea of the transition that connects the Iranian diaspora, now more than ever united under Prince Reza Pahlavi, and the opposition in Iran. People like Mousavi, people like Nargis Mohammadi, people like Nasrin Sotoudeh. There are many people who have fought this regime for 40 years. Everybody has to come together and, I think, get rid of this regime, which will then, and only then, solve the nuclear problem. The has one solution. Iran's nuclear problem has one solution: a democratic Iran.
And news update and headlines. News update and headlines. Top news: Bitcoin starts after week rebound as option signals. News update. South Africa's Steenhuis to quit as Democratic Alliance head. News update. Breaking news. South Africa's Steenhuisen to quit as Democratic Alliance head. News update and headlines. News updates and headlines. Iran approves start of nuclear talks with United States. Iran approves start of nuclear talks with United States. News update. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines on this Tuesday. Reuters in Africa. Le maintien de la paix de Roni en RDC enverra dans les prochains jours sa première équipe chargée de surveiller le cessez-le-feu entre le gouvernement congolais et le M23. Reuters, 8 drones chargés d'explosifs ont pris pour cible l'aéroport devant la ville de Kisangani dans le nord de la RDC au cours du week-end dernier. Reuters, le Maroc a évacué plus de 50 000 personnes, soit près de la moitié de la population de la ville de Kassar et Kaby dans le nord-ouest du pays. Reuters, un tribunal ougandais a abandonné lundi les poursuites contre le premier homme du pays à avoir inculpé d'homosexualité aggravée. News update. Un groupe séparatiste blanc sud-africain encouragé par la volonté du président américain Donald Trump de s'emparer du Groenland. Reuters. News update. Kumusa Drissa alias Jamal Maro, commandant en chef de l'armée Libération Oromo in Ethiopia.
De conduite interdit de prendre pour cible des civils. Nous réaffirmons également que nous sommes favorables à une enquête indépendante menée par un organisme international neutre.
We welcome an independent investigation by a neutral international body.
Les nations accusent Lula de graves exactions, notamment de meurtre, de viol et d'enlèvement, et un rapport d'Amnesty International accable également les forces gouvernementales. Les recherches que nous avons menées placent à la fois Lula et les forces gouvernementales au cœur du conflit en termes d'exécution sommaire, de torture, d'enlèvement et de viol des femmes. Notre rapport montre donc que les deux groupes sont responsables des atrocités commises dans la région d'Oromia et qui continuent d'être perpétrées contre les civils dans la région.
Reuters, la banque d'investissement JP Morgan a vendu lundi son opinion sur les obligations de l'Afrique Export-Import Bank. News update. News update and headlines. News updates and headlines.
Ghana.
Tunisia, emergency state extended until the end of the year by presidential. Madagascar, mining license suspension lifted after 16 years. News. Malawi, authorities declare epidemic of type 2. Guinea-Bissau fishing zone reopened after 30 days biological rest period. News update. Egypt sued canal revenue up to 41% in the first half of 2025-2026. Uganda, economic growth forecast between 6.5 and 7.7%. Senegal, Seneric implements 1% on cash payment. News update. Burkina Faso, over 7.76 billion in budgetary revenue generated. Ghana, trade exchanges with India exceed to $5 billion. Senegal, trade exchange with Turkey projected to surpass $5 billion. News update. News update. Angel Gomez leaves Marseille to sign to Wolverhampton in English Premier League. Mateusz O'Leary transferred to Olympique de Marseille. News update. Last night, Sunderland won 3-0 versus Burnley. Karim Benzema signed to Al Hilal. News update. Reviewing the results in football. Tonight, Sunderland won 3-0 vs Burnley on the last game of Premier League. Manchester United is on the 4th position. Sunderland is on the 8th position right now. News update. Last night, Udinese won 1-0 vs AS Roma from a free kick. The goal of Udinese was scored from free kick. Now AS Roma is on the 5th position in Serie A. Mallorca won against Sevilla 4-1. Neil Maupay, the French striker, scored his first goal for his new team, FC Sevilla. But even if he scored, his team lost behind 4. News update and headlines. News update and headlines. News updates and headlines. News update headlines. Cycling Championnat d'Europe. Vertu eliminated Oliviera Kilometre. Poursuite. Homme poursuite pour l'équipe de femmes. Thomas. Tennis. Jaya eliminate Memphis. Tennis WTA. Paris eliminate Dodi. Tennis WTA. Ferro eliminate Fruchovitova. Basketball result NBA Charlotte 102-95 New Orleans. Basketball NBA result Indiana 114-118 Houston Rockets. Basketball result Memphis 137-128 Minnesota. Basketball NBA result LA Clippers 113-128 Philadelphia. News update and headlines. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. Headlines. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. News update headlines. Ukraine, Kiev, plus d'un millier d'immeubles d'habitations sans chauffage. Kiev, more than 100 houses for living has no heating. In Kiev, Iran, 139 ressortissants ont été arrêtés. Pays pendant la manifestation. Iran, 139 people has been arrested during protestation. Politique. Elle menacerait, je pense, dans le jour à venir. News update. Le livre de chevet des enfants, c'est TikTok, Hollore Berger. The book Hair of Our Children is TikTok, Hollore Berger declares. News update Ukraine, Kiev, plus de milliers d'immeubles d'habitation sont sans chauffage après les frappes russes. Kiev, more than millions of house has no heating after strike from Russia. News update. News update. News updates and headlines. 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 News updates and headlines.
Ali Yusuf received the Joint Facilitation Group of the African Union, the East African Community, and the Southern African Development Community tasked with addressing the crisis in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. During the meeting held on 14 January 2026, he welcomed the leadership and commitment of the facilitators and reaffirmed the Commission's full support for their promote peace and stability. The panel highlighted the importance of coherence between African and international initiatives and committed to working with the AU mediator for Esozima Nasimbe to engage all stakeholders toward a sustainable and inclusive solution in Eastern DRC.
News update. News update.
Of essential military supplies to Nigeria, described as tangible support for ongoing operations against security threats, particularly jihadism, and a sign of strength to bilateral security cooperation. The announcement made on January 13, 2026 in Abuja comes amid more visible
News and updates. News and update. News and updates. News and updates around the world. La Russie a repris sa frappe contre l'Ukraine. Les taken strikes versus Ukraine. News update. Agence France Presse. Affaire Epstein, la fille de Jack Long démissionne du syndicat. Agence France Presse, Sébastien Lecornu s'est réjoui lundi dans un message sur X que la France était enfin un budget qui n'est pas le texte du gouvernement mais le restant. War in Ukraine, 15 miners killed when they were coming back from their job in Dino. Reuters, la police iranienne arrête 4 étrangers non identifiés dans le cadre de troubles. Iranian police has arrested 4 strangers in Iran. Reuters. Ukraine President Attention Iran, United Nations. Téhéran qualifie les armées européennes de groupes terroristes. Tehran has qualified European Union's army as terrorists.
Symbolique et ça.
La poste frontière de Rafah entre Gaza et l'Égypte a réouvert pour un trafic limité. Ilo News. AFP, le procès du fils de la princesse héritière de la Norvège pour viol et autres chefs. AFP, la Russie a repris ses frappes contre les infrastructures énergétiques ukrainiennes. Russia has retaken strike on AFP, Washington said à la presse. Agence presse, affaire Epstein, la fille de Jack Ra démissionne du syndicat. Agence Sébastien Lecornu s'est revu lundi. News update. News update and headlines. News updates and headlines. Rafah border crossing reopened for Palestinians. In Khan Yunus, Rafah border crossing reopened for Palestinians. News update. News update and headlines. Police review claims after fight suggest Mandelson sent government information to Epstein. News update. Moon mission dress rehearsal halted by NASA due to a hydrogen leak. News update and headlines. News update and headlines. Kiev confirmed that new peace deal negotiation between Ukraine and Russia will start on this Wednesday in Abu Dhabi. News update. News update around the world. AFP, les Clinton cèdent à la pression et acceptent de témoigner dans l'enquête de la Chambre sur Epstein à l'approche d'un vote pour outrage au Congrès. News update. News update. News, Gaza, Palestine on the 1st of February 2026. At least 20,000 persons will leave. Kajai Kalas, the opening of the Rafah crossing marks a new beginning. News update. News. Roni estime que 100 000 Palestiniens ont quitté Gaza en 2030. News update and headlines. News update and headlines. The border in for Israel and Palestine, it is still limited crossing for Palestinians. News update. Trump says he is seeking $1 billion from Harvard University. Charles Myers, global advisor, chairman, and founder.
Ask for damages is just part of that. And I think on the Harvard case specifically, it's because Harvard won a case in September last year that restored the federal funding to the university. And so I think this is round two from the administration. But ultimately, where we come at it is what is the institutional damage, partly to answer your question, that's being done. And foreign investors are concerned about this institutional damage, whether it's independence, attacking universities, etc. And I don't think it's very constructive. I think Harvard is right to fight this. I think they will absolutely fight this to the end. In the end, I suspect Harvard will win this. Every other product in the affordability basket over the last 12 months. So I'd say it's going to be a pretty tough midterm for the administration. I think the Democrats will take the House by a net 20 seats. The Senate probably stays Republican, but even the Senate might be in play. When you come into office with such an aggressive set of policies, particularly on the domestic front, and I think, again, tactics around immigration, is what has hurt the most. The president's approval rating, where he has lost the most ground in the last 12 months, is with Hispanic voters, but also with young voters. So there's still time to turn it around between now and November, but I'd say it's looking like a pretty tough midterm for the president and the Republicans.
Trump says he is seeking $1 billion from Harvard University. Mayors' affordability is the key issue in midterms.
And over military force, but also the Epstein files. But I would say, going into the midterms, the MAGA base will absolutely stick with the president. They will turn out with the same have for him in the last three elections. I don't think that's the issue. Where we may see, to your question, some of his support is elected Republicans in swing districts into the midterms who may need to break with the president just in order to save their own seat. We're not seeing a lot of it yet, but I think we'll see more of that as we head into November. And it's important. We don't have a lot of guardrails that are working in the U.S. today. We do need a much more assertive Congress as a co-equal branch of government. I think it would be a good thing.
European stock head for new height. News update. Top news. Indonesia's finance minister blasts city for budget deficit view. News update. Top news. NASA delays moon mission launch after hydrogen leaks during test. NASA is pushing the proposed launch date for its Artemis second lunar mission back to at least March after finding a hydrogen leak during a major fueling test. Top news. John Steenhuisen, who has headed the Democratic Alliance since 2019, won't stand for another term at the party elective conference, according to people familiar with the matter in South Africa. Hungary trade takes off of Polish point to an election loss. Top news. Stay of targets as energy price stays. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. News update. Geraldo Taracena, who acted in movies such as Apocalypto, passed away on January 2026. He was a Mexican actor who was known for his performance in Apocalypto and Narcos. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. French Premier survives. French inflation sinks to a 5-year low. News update and headlines. Today we remember Sid Vicious on his birthday. Born John Simon Ritchie on 10th of May in 1957 in London, Sid Vicious rose to fame as the bassist for Sex Pistols. News update. Today we remember Sid Vicious on his birthday. He was known as a bassist of Pistol, one of the most influential punk bands of the 1970s. He joined the band in 1977, replacing Glenn Matlock, and quickly became a defining visual symbol of punk rock with his spicked hair, torn clothing, safety pins, and Sid has limited musical experience. His presence punk anti-establishment during a time of social and political unrest in the UK. With Sex Pistols, he was part of the cultural movement that produced anarchy in the UK and God Save culture worldwide. Despite his brief career, Sid Vicious remained one of the most recognizable, remembered for his image, attitude, and lasting influence on music, fashion, and counterculture. He died from heroin overdose at the age of 21. May he rest in peace. Condolences to his family and all his fans. News update. Today also we remember John Kerry, who passed away on 2nd of February in 1996. News updates. News update. News update. News update. Headlines. News update and headlines. News updates and headlines. FDA rejects self-injected version of Astra Loops drugs. News update and headlines. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. Now in Manchester United into sport, Bruno Fernandes is the 9th assist away from breaking the all-time Premier League assist record with 14 matches remaining. It's currently held by Thierry Henry, Kevin De Bruyne with 20 assists. News update. News update. Manchester United has already equaled their Premier League goal totally from last season. They have 14 games still to play. News update. In Real Madrid, Spain, La Liga, Vinicius Jr. has been suspended for the next Real Madrid Liga game versus Valencia. He will be out due to an accumulation of yellow cards. News update and headlines. There are extremely chances of Pep Guardiola leaving Manchester City at the end of this season, reports Sky Sports. Update. Rodri, player of Manchester City in England, against referees. We've won too much, people don't want us to win. Referee has to be neutral. I never speak about referees, I respect their job massively, but it's a few games in a row now and I don't know why it is not fair. It's not just one incident, everyone can make mistakes, we all have mistakes, no worries about one, but when it's 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row, not possible. Rodri, the player of Manchester City in England. Chris Cathywood's the basement trade. News update.
I think is misplaced, and especially when we think about the dollar. If you put the dollar into perspective, you will see that over the years and in recent years, it's toward the higher end of its range against other currencies. And we think that the combination of deregulation here in the United States, big tax changes, especially for corporations, and very business and capital friendly policies here in the United States. In the world. And this, we think, is because Trumponomics, if you want to call it that, is like Reaganomics on steroids. If you look at what happened to the dollar under Reagan, it doubled. It nearly doubled. So much so and so quickly that we ended up in the Plaza and Louvre Accords to try and get it down. So I think it's a little misplaced.
That was Cathy Wood talking about the economy. News update and headlines. News update and headlines. Hendrik has been unveiled as Olympic Lyonnais Player of the Month in January. Hendrik, who is now playing for Olympique Lyonnais in French Ligue 1 from Real Madrid, has been named in the club Olympique Lyonnais. News update, headlines. News update and headlines. News updates and headlines. Former Chelsea manager Roberto Di Matteo makes his perfect football manager. Former Chelsea team makes his perfect football manager. How his football manager would be like. He would have tactics with Sir Alex Ferguson, winning mentality as of Jurgen Klopp, teamwork as of Mike Arteta, management as Pep Guardiola, the coach of Manchester City, trophy cabinet as Sir Alex Ferguson and Pep Guardiola, Best press conference as Jose Mourinho. Big game coach as Sir Alex Ferguson, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, and Jose Mourinho. News update and headlines. News update and headlines. News update and headlines. Journalist asked Jose Mourinho. In press conference, journalist asked Jose Mourinho, the coach of Benfica in Portugal, was the team tired today? Jose Mourinho answered, tired? A father works all day and come home with $50 is tired, not us. Jose Mourinho answered to the journalist who asked him if his team, Benfica, was tired today. He answered, tired? A father who works all day and come home with $50 is tired, not us. Kylian Mbappe in La Liga this season. 55 games, 60 goals scored for Real Madrid. News update. Cristiano Ronaldo's contract in Saudi Arabia includes a clause allowing him to leave Al Nassr in June 2026. There are European and American clubs interested to sign Cristiano Ronaldo at the end of his season in 2026. News update. The striker of Manchester United benched 4 goals in his last 4 matches. He scored against Fulham, Arsenal, Brighton, and Burnley. Manchester United has only lost 1 match out of 8 in which Lisandro Martinez has started. News update and headlines. Police has identified the fan who threw a banana peel at Vinicius Jr. in the game versus Albacete. An administrative penalty has been filed against him, reports COPE. News update and headline. Here are the last centre-back signed by Liverpool. Jeremy Jacquet, who is 20 years old, French, for 60 million. Giovanni Leone, who is 19 years old, from Italy, for 26 million. Ifeanyi Ndukwe, 17 years old, Australian, for 2.6 million. Moro Talla Ndiaye, 18 years old, from Senegal, 1 million. Lamine Yamal asked about his best moment. He said, my best moment this season, the best is yet to come. The important thing is coming. Bruno Fernandes, player of Manchester United and the captain this season, the statistic of him this season: most assists with 12 assists, most chances created with 66 chances created, most big chances created 16 chances, most key passes with 54 passes. News update. Jeremy Jacquet joins Liverpool for $72 million total package deal from Rennes in Ligue 1, French Ligue 1. Official Al Hilal signs Karim Benzema on deal valid until 2027. West Ham United agreed to sign Axel Disasi from Chelsea. News update. News update around the world. News updates around the world. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. UK police are reviewing report of alleged misconduct in public office after Lord Manderson was accused. Police assess reports of alleged misconduct of Manderson Epstein email. News update. FIFA President Giovanni Infantino has apologized for controversial comment he made about British football supporters, which were criticized by fan group. News update. Salah Trust announced it was shooting for foreseeable future after some months of discussion, BBC. The government has faced a backlash after 2 US citizens were shot and killed by federal immigration officer in Minnesota, BBC News. News update. Disney warns of heat from foreign visits. The company's international visits to its US park were weakening, with analysts point to President Donald Trump's policy, BBC News. China has reacted angrily to the Dalai Lama's Grammy win, saying it opposes art award being used for anti-China political manipulation. BBC News. Since 2016, those who can prove their ancestors are Ghanaian to get their nationality. The BBC's Lasha editor reflects on the difficulty of working as a British journalist in Moscow. BBC News. Marius Borg-Hoib has been remanded in custody for 4 weeks after new allegations emerged. Crown Prince Mariti's son arrested for alleged assault. BBC News. News update. Italy's capital city has introduced a fee to access the viewing area of its iconic fountain. BBC News. Tourists react as Lom introduced Trevi Fountain charge. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines on this Tuesday, 3rd of February 2026. News updates and headlines. The mission as soon as February 8th, President Donald Trump called on Republicans to nationalize the voting in an interview. He referred
within the ranks,
especially to voting in Georgia, which has long been a counterpiece of baseless claims that the 2020 presidential election was stolen from him, CNN.com. The FBI conducted a controversial raid on the election office in Fulton County, Georgia last week, and two sources told that the director of Nation Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, put Trump on the phone with some of the agents involved. CNN.com being pushed by President Donald Trump and GOP leaders. Congress is on the cusp of ending the partial government shutdown in the next 24 hours. CNN.com. President on Monday announced he would reduce tariffs on India goods in exchange for, among other things, a promise to stop buying Russia oil. Bill and Hillary Clinton have agreed to appear for in-person position in Washington, D.C. in the congressional Jeffrey Epstein probe in hope of avoiding a roaming House contempt of Congress vote. It's not yet clear if the House Oversight Chairman will accept the 11th hour offer. News update and headlines. Top US and Iranian officials are planning to meet in Turkey on this coming Friday amid efforts to re-establish nuclear negotiation and as regional allies rush to find a diplomatic off-ramp to avert US military action against Iran, Free source told CNN.com. The death of Alex Pretty, the protester shot during encounter with federal agent Sheriff Home of Savannah Gunter's murder crime scene.
It's that crime scene that we do in fact have a crime scene, that we do in fact have a crime. She did not leave on her own.
Savannah, and we believe in prayer, we believe in voice raised in unison, in love, in hope. We believe goodness, we believe in humanity. Above all, we believe in Him. The mother of today, Ancha Savannah Gutierrez, is still missing, according to officials who say the investigation into her alleged abduction is ongoing. Nancy Gutierrez, who is 84 years old, was last seen Saturday around 9 a.m. near her home where she lives alone near Tucson, Arizona. A Virginia jury found Brendan Banfield guilty of killing his wife and another man as a part of an elaborate scheme with the family's R.I.P. pair with whom he was having an extramarital affair. News update. A crucial NASA's Test Tower Space Launch System rocket is underway, marking one of the final steps before the vehicle launches 4 astronauts into deep space for the first time since The Apollo program ended more than 5 decades ago. The mission could launch as soon as February 8th. Sheriff believes Savannah Guterres' mother was abducted. And headlines on this Tuesday, 3rd of February 2026. US and India reached trade deal, Trump says after a call with Narendra Modi. News update and headlines. News update and headlines. News updates and headlines. Reminding you, if you are a fan of football or you love football or soccer, depending on where you are, tonight there is a big game in Carabao Cup where Arsenal will be playing against Chelsea to qualify for the second round of Carabao Cup. So this game will pass here. I will be giving you the update about this game.
EU, just from the transatlantic
News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. Sheriff, home of Savannah Guterres' mother. Sheriff says evidence indicates Nancy Guterres taken against her will. The sheriff says evidence indicates Nancy Guterres was taken against her will. Top US and Iranian officials are planning to meet in Turkey on this coming Friday amid efforts to re-establish nuclear negotiations and diplomatic off-ramp to avert USA military action against Iran. News update. Clinton agreed to congressional deposition. News update and headlines. France finally breaks budget deadlock. France finally breaks budget deadlock. News update. News update and headlines. News update and headlines. News update and headlines. Investor confidence return in South Africa. AU delisting could be. News updates and headlines. Mikaseko Kubai Research Institute Global in South Africa.
About our ability to, get from policy proposals implementation. So all of that is overwhelmingly good, or on balance good. And it comes at a time when South Africa has also been, for the first time, received an upgrade by ratings agencies.
Investor confident of returns in South Africa. UAE could add 1.123%. So investors are confident of returns in South Africa. 1 to 3% to GPD. News update Adria Savia, Professor Gordon in South Africa.
Of the EU, at achieving, precisely that. The likelihood is that they're going to expand as much as possible similar, actions, and even others that, are not necessarily, finance related, with other regions of the world, to reduce that reliance on the US market.
News updates and headlines.
Ingénieur industriel de Côte d'Ivoire. Comme vous le savez, l'industrie joue un rôle important dans le développement de la Côte d'Ivoire. Nous devons œuvrer pour la transformation de nos matières premières pour pouvoir créer plus de valeur ajoutée et créer des emplois. Et c'est ce message fort-là que le ministre a voulu que nous exprimions à l'endroit des ingénieurs industriels ce soir. Au cours
Spain social media ban. Spain to ban social media. News update. Iran approves to start a nuclear talk with United States. Epstein files. Sarah Ferguson's charity to close days after new revelations. News update. Epstein files. Sarah Ferguson's charity to close days after new revelations. News updates. News update. French authorities are searching for ex-officers in Paris. News update. French authorities are searching for ex-officers in Paris. News update. Clinton agreed to in-person depositions with Congress. News updates and headlines. News updates and headlines. New questions and criticism for latest files. Epstein files released. Updates along the world. After a fierce lobbying push by President Trump, the CAPS news updates and news updates around the world. Limited opening of Rafah crossing for Palestinians. Epstein files Sarah Ferguson's charity to cross days after new revelations. News update.